Hello everyone, welcome back to Digital Srini and welcome to video 9 of the Applied LLM for Scientist series. In the last video, we built a complete image triage pipeline using GPT-4o and Claude Sonnet. We wrote Python code in Google Colab, right? I mean, we placed the files in Google Drive and we use that as our drive location, for all of our images. And we wrote Python code to load the images and call APIs, the Claude API and GPT-4o, or OpenAI API, and we used those and we parsed JSON and we sorted the files and we wrote logs. That's basically what we have done in the last tutorial. It obviously worked well, but we wrote every line of that code ourselves, like the Python code. Today, we do the same thing a bit differently. I'm going to describe what I want in plain English and let Claude Code figure out the rest. So the prime difference is in the last tutorial, we did some tasks. We used APIs for Claude and GPT, OpenAI, to get certain tasks done. But we ended up writing the code. Uh, Now, let's not even do that. Let's actually, in plain English, tell Claude Code what we want and let it do its own stuff. For that, I'm going to actually work on my local computer, which is basically a laptop that I use as backup, not even for my coding. It's an old crappy laptop that I give to my students, the kids who come, for Python classes over the weekends. And if they forget the laptop or if they run out of battery or something, for whatever reason, this is the backup. What I'm trying to say is, I hope you have something better than what I'm showing you today, because if it works on this system, it works on your system for sure. That's the message I want to get across here. Okay, so we are going to, again, Claude Code, it's not free, right? I mean, you need access, you need a pro account. In fact, you need an API and all that, but it doesn't cost a lot of money unless you're doing very heavy duty jobs. And in which case, it's probably worth it. If you're doing heavy duty, obviously pay. So let's go ahead and jump in. In fact, this is my workstation that you're seeing here, but let me actually switch to my laptop and I'll have to find a way to record the screen on my laptop. So I should have been prepared. So let me continue here in just a moment. So before we jump in, let me quickly show you how to get Claude Code set up. The full documentation is here at this URL, which I'll put in the description. And installation is just one command, right? It's on Windows PowerShell. Go ahead and copy this and paste an installation. At least to me, it was very straightforward. And when you scroll down, you see how to use it. Yeah. And of course, when you first type this command, Claude, in your command prompt on your local system. So in my case, I used Anaconda prompt, and you just type Claude. If the installation goes well, if your initial installation, then you should get an opening screen. That's exactly where you can enter your API key. And I mean, that's it. That's basically it. And once that's done, now you can navigate to any folder and type Claude to start a session. And Claude Code immediately sees the file system you have right there. It can read, it can write files, it can execute code directly in that terminal. And one thing worth noting is I'm running this again on a basic laptop with no GPU, nothing. It doesn't matter. Claude Code does not need any of those. All the heavy lifting happens on Anthropic servers, and the only thing running locally is this terminal session that you can see just in a second. So as you can see, here is the terminal, and on the left-hand side, you see the folder where with .env file, and this is the .env file with our API key. At least I stored it in there, but Claude also asks you for API, and I think that's the best place to provide API, so it doesn't ask you every time to provide this API key while you're in that specific session. Now you also see this directory right there. This is exactly the same directory that we had on Google Drive in the last tutorial with a few images and some of the H&D images and IHC images you can see right there. Now, this is our goal is to work with this, and this is the same task we did on Colab, so we are just continuing that right here. Okay, so let's type Claude. It opens up, yeah, right there. And here you can actually type what you want to do. And I want Claude Code to explore the images that we have in our histology images directory. So I want to explore these and tell me what they are. I'm not telling it how to do that, just what I want. So here is the prompt I pre-written, and let me just change this to histology images because that's the folder name. I changed it later, and let's go ahead and run it. Yeah, and it takes and it may ask you questions about do you want to proceed, and then go ahead and hit enter. I mean, that's the default option, and it may throw out some errors that while it's thinking, like you can see here, it comes up with these some weird names like perambulating or discombobulating, whatever it is. But there you go. So you got the result, and it says 11 images. We have rat kidney 8 files and no gloom underscore 3 files. And no gloom, as you can see, that's exactly what we have. 1 2 3, these 3 files, no gloom. It starts with that. So it actually did a great job in summarizing what I wanted to do. Now let's ask the next question. And now that we know what it can do, let's actually get real. I'm going to ask Claude Code to write here, as you can see, a complete Python script that calls the Anthropic Vision API on every image, extracts structured information, and saves a CSV report, and then run it. And look what's happening here. It's writing the full script. I mean, basically, let's go ahead and hit yes. I'm jumping ahead there. And you should see now it says misting, and it's loaded the skill of writing whatever it needs to write, right? I mean, in this case, Python code. So it loads the appropriate skill. We don't need to do anything. And sometimes it may take a little while, but what it's doing is it's writing the full script. It imports it even pip installs if there is no, if there are some dependencies. And it performs this base 64 encoding, API call, JSON parsing, data frame construction, CSV export, like all the things. We didn't tell it to do every little step, right? So, but we gave detailed instructions in terms of what we want, and it's actually, hopefully we'll see that it's doing what it's supposed to do. So previously we wrote every line manually in our last video, and now it should actually write probably a similar code completely. We didn't even care about the code. We're not even going to open the file. Well, let's not try to open the file. Okay, so what is it saying? It says it's still writing code, obviously. So let me pause the video and then see. Let's continue once this thing is done, which is probably a few seconds from now. Oh, as soon as I say, it says, do you want to create this file? Yes. I mean, it generated the code. Now it's like, do you want me to write the file locally? And it did write the file locally right there. Yeah. And that's great. We did not do anything. And now it's actually executing it. Let's actually open the file while it's doing that. I don't have an IDE probably here. So let's open it in Notepad. And there you go. So it wrote this entire file. The sad part is if you don't know what exactly the code here is, you just have to trust blindly that it's doing a good job. It did the right thing right there. So now it's actually executing. You can see let's see. Well, it's actually not executing yet because it's compacting the conversation. It does this occasionally as the conversation goes on, and then it performs the next task. As you can see, while I'm talking, that part was done, and now it's doing the next part. And it says, do you want to proceed? Okay, go ahead and hit enter. It's proceeding to the next step. You can automate all of that if you don't want it to if you don't want to say yes and no and all that stuff in the middle. Okay, so what is it doing? It's running this, and as you can see, this is the first file name. So it's going through each file, it's processing each file and printing the progress. This is the same triage pipeline from the last video, built from completely, in this case, single plain English instruction. That's the amazing part right here. Yeah, and you can see these images for rat kidney 10, glomeruli count 8. And while it's doing its stuff, why stare at the screen? Let's open this image. And it opened in a different screen. let me bring it up here. And if you can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 16, I don't know. Let's see. Oh, it went away. So the numbers, I mean, it should match. We tested this in the last tutorial. Go back and do it on your own. So now it put the results in triage results.csv. Now let's go ahead and open it. It did everything we asked it to do, as you can see, with just one command. This is scary and amazing at the same time. So let's open the CSV file, and it should be exactly the same results that we saw in video 8. Go back and compare it to video 8. Claude correctly identified glomeruli presence. The count, the first 3 0. We don't have any, and then you have these counts. The only thing it got wrong is these images should be IHC, but it got them as HND. So if we ask another time and say, hey, are you sure? Go back, it probably would do a better job. But it actually mentioned it right here. You see, image appear rather than the file name. It still knows that the hey, file name says IHC, but the images are tagged as HND. So it's warning us. Okay, so now I wanted to read that CSV right there and sort the images into subfolders automatically. That's exactly what this command actually says. It reads the CSV, create a folder structure, copies each file to the right location, and prints a summary. That's exactly the instruction that we just provided. And now it says discombobulating, but it's actually reading our CSV file and looking at, okay, are there how many, what is the file name? And let me go ahead and sort it. So this is really taking actions. Oh, it changed the font size. I'll try to zoom in digitally here. I don't know why the font size changed. Sorry, guys. Things happen when you do live, but there you go. So here needs review, nothing. And without glomeruli, we should have 3 images. There you go. We have 3 images. That's great. And if you go back to histology, these are the 3 images, right? That where we do not have any glomeruli. So we did exactly the same thing, actually. We did exactly the same thing in video 8, but we wrote the routing function, the shutil calls, the loop, the log. Here I just described the outcome, and Claude Code handled this implementation completely, entirely. This is, I mean, I get amazed every time I use it for different tasks, whether it is for marketing tasks, let's say, or whether it is for coding tasks. So let's do one more task. Let's actually, I want a plain English summary of the results written as a lab notebook entry. Okay, so that's what this prompt actually is doing. A human readable summary written automatically, saved to a file. And I want it should be ready to paste it into a lab notebook or a method section, whatever you're trying to do. So it's doing that, and once it's done, we should see a text file, and let's look at that file and end this video. It shouldn't take that long, so probably I can just talk my way while it's doing it, because I want you guys to see how things are in real time. I don't want to speed up the video. In case I do, I'll let you know. Otherwise, I want you to have the real-time experience right here. Okay, there you go. I almost said there's so much I can talk and I should just stop. Okay, it says, do you want to save the file? Yes, and there you go. The file is right here, and everything, the methods, the results, its complete summary. I mean, I used to, when I was doing my PhD, I used to take time to write all these. Now it's oh my God. If you are still taking 5, 6, 7 years to do your PhD, something is wrong with our system. We should be finishing those in 3 years. Okay, so what did we do? We analyzed a folder of scientific images. We generated a structured triage report. We sorted files automatically, and we wrote a plain English summary. And all of that from plain English instructions with no code written by hand. Now you may ask, do I even need to learn coding anymore? Of course you do. Because yes, of course, it's writing the code and it's doing the tasks and everything, but understanding the code and trying to explain what's happening in the code. And if you look at the code and you identify, okay, it's not nicely structured, you would know if you know how a nicely structured code would look like. Claude actually does an amazing job with code. So you can get away by not knowing how to code. Let me put it that way, but it helps if you know how to code. Okay, so Um, I think I should end. I should end right here. But one thing is, Claude Code is an agentic system. I don't want you to take, have a different opinion. Uh, so let me summarize it. Claude Code is an agentic system, right? It plans, it writes code, it executes it, it reads the output, adapts if something goes wrong. So that's completely, or I should say not completely, that's genuinely different from LLM assisted automation we built in video 8, where the routing rules were fixed and written by us. So you have a bit more control when you do things yourself. Yeah, but it is in this case still operating within the goal we provided it. It's not just going and doing its own thing. We provide a goal, and that's where you should be very good at prompting. And it's not deciding what to analyze or why. We still define that task. That's why subject matter expertise is very important. The difference is that we define it in plain English rather than writing code and wasting time. So that shift, I think, from writing code to describing goals is where a lot of scientific computing is heading. I genuinely think Claude Code is one of the clearest demonstrations, I say. I mean, other tools will actually come in this direction, so you'll have more options. I personally like Claude Code as of today. So all the code generated is in the repository again, in the link below. The series continues. If you have not subscribed yet, now is a very good time, and I'll see you in the next tutorial. And thank you very much for watching this all the way to the end.